Have you ever wondered how much actual money you have spent on Blox Fruit? Well, you are about to find out because in this video I'll be doing a deep dive into how much Blox Fruit items actually cost in real life. And additionally, I'll be giving out suggestions and methods on how you can obtain all of these without spending Robux. So let's get right into it. So let's start with the common items, which are the money, fragment, and double experience boost top-ups, whose highest value for all of them ranges up to 1,500 Robux, which is equivalent to $18.75. According to Fandom's calculation, to obtain everything with this add-on in the game, first let's start with money, whose maximum amount a player can hold is 1 billion. And if you spend all your Robux to get up to this amount, it would cost up from $18.75 to $6,250, which is a tremendous amount. Like, who on earth would waste all their money on this just for some in-game money? And because if you actually did, you are an absolute lobotomite from my perspective. You could buy yourself a mid-range car or a high-end gaming setup with a fancy graphic card for that amount. Anyway, for the fragments, we would do a little math here. 422300 divided by 16000, which is the cost of the best amount you can buy. Then we time it by 1499 Robux, which we will get 39590 Robux or 40k in roundup, which equals to about $500. Holy smack. Your wallet would be crying right now for sure. And finally, the double experience, for which I don't know how long it really takes because it depends on the way you farm, but I wouldn't be a fool to spend that amount on it. So now let's wrap everything up. If you want to obtain millions of cash, the best way is to go to the Sea Beast farm recommended in the 3rd Sea, which rewards around 150k cash per Sea Beast killed and double if you have double cash Game Pass, but just make sure that it is a real one, because players with over 10 million bounties or honor can manually summon Sea Beast from their inventory as well, which they use to either troll people, and you pretty much wasted your time because they could be using it to trick you for your bounty or honor. But aside from that, if you want to AFK farm, which is extremely useful for people who have a private server, then feel free to watch this video I posted in the past about this method. And now for the fragments. You can either get involved in completing raids, which reward up to 1,000 fragments per raid, or try to find the Mirage, which is possibly not worth it, as the chest only gives an average of 200. 400 fragments per chest and Mirage are hard to spawn. Now everyone has to know this, but if not, then you didn't play the game correctly, because you should know that codes existed, and each of them gives a decent 20 minutes of double experience with that. Said if you use all the permanent codes listed in the fandom, you will get a total of 5 hours and 10 minutes of double experience for free, which saved you from spending 380 Robux on it. But regardless of that, just make sure to utilize your time with the double experience as if they have ended. Then they have ended. Now let's move on to the standard Game Pass, which will be revealed here. We have the double drop chance, which increases the chances of bosses dropping. And here is my word, just keep trying. Who knows if you will get the Dark Dagger from the Rip_Indra boss, or the Hallow Scythe from the Soul Reaper, unless you want to know the difference between paying $5 because you feel like Blox Fruit is treating you unfairly, or you're extremely bad luck. Next, we have Fast Boats, which you get access to purchasing a fancier and enhanced boat compared to an old sloppy boat like this one. Now, I don't think this is really worth buying, because if you have travel ability unlocked for your current fruit, like the Scorching Donut from the Dough Fruit or the World Warp from the Portal Fruit, then it is more likely that you shouldn't buy the Game Pass, because this fruits that I mentioned, and a few more, are already more powerful enough than the Fast Boat Game Pass. Otherwise, if you are using it because you are in the 1st Sea, or you have a bad fruit, then you should buy it. But I don't think grinding Blox Fruit is a rush after all. So after that, it is the Double Mastery, which is $6, and you will only get your hands on earning twice the mastery you get from killing an NPC or boss if you are in a rush to master your fruit or items. Regardless of that, it is still useful, as it can instantly obtain more than 100 mastery if you complete any quest, even if you are below level 300. How does this work? Well, you will need a partner who is maxed out. You do a little damage, but make sure it is at least 10% or more, and then your partner finishes it. Its value is clear considering the time it saves players seeking to improve their mastery. Lucky next is the most desired item, the Dark Blade, which most players want to obtain because it's just for their collection. But is the sword itself actually worth buying for $15? Well, I highly doubt that I agree or disagree. If you're going to flex this sword on a public server, players might perceive you as a rich player and potentially beg you to offer them a game pass for blah blah blah. But the sword statistics itself is just similar and decent to other swords in general. Finally, we have the Fruit Notifier, which is the most expensive game pass in the game, excluding Perm Fruits. As of now, I wouldn't say that this Fruit Notifier is extremely useful for numerous reasons. First, the impact of the Blox Fruit gacha is the main reason because it gives a random to fruit players if they purchase a roll with game money, and the purpose of adding this is to reduce the difficulty of the game for the players. But yes, it is still not a game pass worth buying, and who will spend $34 on this waste? Now, in conclusion, yes, you can trade something from your inventory for these game passes, but you more likely have to consider the risk of trading as it is potentially scammy everywhere, right in Roblox. For example, if someone is offering to trade their Fruit Notifier for something, then you really have to be careful about who it is in terms of their offer. Now, additionally, I want to add a side note, but how much is the true triple Yoru actually worth? First, we know that it's only obtainable from admins, which means that you can't get it from Quest or Game Pass, and approximately only 30 people in the whole Blox Fruit has this sword, which are mostly staffs. But one possibly way is to win and come first in the PvP Blox Fruit tournament, which is rarely hosted by admin and Blox Fruit staffs, maybe once every year, or that you are super famous in Blox Fruit that you recognize by the staff. But I'll say the sword is worth from a 3 to 4 digit amount. But for sure, I can tell you that it values a lot, but basically, it is just similar to the normal Yoru because it's just tripling the effect and abilities. Now let's dive into the world of fruits. The most expensive permanent fruit is the leopard fruit, priced at 3,000 Robux, which equates to approximately $37.5. Following closely behind is the dragon fruit, which costs 2,600 Robux. And additionally, we know that the dragon fruit is getting a rework in the next update, so, maybe now is a great time to buy the fruit before the price inflates. Moving on, let's think about the cost of a permanent mammoth fruit. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Now, the question is it worth investing in these fruits? They are popular and user-friendly, which players can create numerous combos with other accessories like the sword and fighting style. Furthermore, there have been no reported nerfs to this fruit thus far. Consequently, I would assert that they represent a worthwhile investment, unless, of course, you possess exceptional skills without relying on such fruits. If we were to tally up the total cost of acquiring all permanent fruits, it would amount to a staggering 49,255 Robux, or an eye-opening $615. This figure is indeed remarkable. Interestingly, to put it into perspective, one could alternatively purchase a PlayStation 5 or a mid-range laptop for the same amount. Moreover, it's worth mentioning that, to my knowledge, there is only one person that I know who has bought all Perm Fruit at once. And does he even feel like he accomplished anything after this? Finally, let's move on to the product, which, let's just do this since it is related to Robux. So first we have the respawn bosses, which you can just server hop in a public lobby, and who cares if other players are fighting for the boss? You just need to do 10% damage or more on it, and let the other player do the rest. Like, who would waste 50 Robux on this garbage? Then we have the reset stat for 75 Robux. But here's the thing. There are 4 permanent reset code that existed, so maybe just use them wisely. But if you use them all well, then you have to buy them with Robux because there is no other alternative ways to reset stats prior to spending Robux on it. The Change Race Pass. You can change your race by talking to the NPC called Norp, and he will spin a random race for 2,000 fragments, or just do a raid with your friend who has Buddha fruit. Otherwise, if you are too lazy to do it, the price may be a little bit pricey. And lucky last, the increase in fruit storage by 1, which out of all of the products here, this is the best to buy overall for $5 per storage. I mean, it would be hard to obtain leopard fruit physically if you only have 1 storage capacity. In conclusion, the cost of various items, game passes, and permanent fruits in Blox Fruit can add up significantly. Players can spend hundreds of dollars on in-game purchases no matter what their motive is, and it's crucial to weigh the value of these purchases against their in-game benefits. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.